How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am back for another comic book video. Looks like I'm still here in 2020, so apparently YouTube did not purge my channel. Doesn't mean that they won't, it just means that they haven't. I guess I'm so small that they slip beneath my notice. So, since we're starting a new month, it's time to switch to a new country to review Golden Age heroes. Last month I did Canada, and now I'm going to do the country of... Hold on a second. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, that is the Australian national anthem. That's right. I am going to be covering the Golden Age heroes from Down Under. Now, as I've been looking up the Golden Age heroes, a couple of these were at the very end of the Golden Age, kind of skirting the edge of the Silver Age. So I am going to cover the heroes that came out in the 40s. I'm going to do a couple that came out in the early 50s. Where the Golden Age actually ends, whether it ends in 1950 or 51, 52, 53, the speculation on that is not quite clear. So I am going to do a couple of the heroes from the early 50s, but try to stick to what I consider to be the Golden Age. So the first person I'm going to cover is actually someone I did a full review on earlier. If you recognize the name, then you know who I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to cover him very quickly because it's not really sure whether he is a copy from the Golden Age version from the States or not, considering wartime Australia, just like wartime Canada, was not allowed to get American comics. So this might be a pure creation from Australia. It's hard to say. So let's go ahead and do this. I think I'm going to cover 3 heroes today, and let's get started covering the Golden Age heroes from the land down under. We'll be starting off this video with Catman. Now, I cannot give a definite first appearance of the Australian Catman because I do not have a definite first appearance or a definite year. There's actually a number of different sources saying there was a number of different appearances and a number of different years. So we will say that the Catman, Australian Catman, did exist. Now, for a full rundown on the original Golden Age Catman, I did do a video on him, if you want to see something more in depth. But with the information of his first appearance being in question, I will just go over with Catman what we do know. His true name is unrevealed, and we're not sure if he had any definite enemies. I mean, I don't think there's any arch enemies. Now, this Catman has no superpowers, and he is an adept fighter, and he uses a lot of inventions when he fights crimes, much in the same way as Batman does. He has a utility belt, he has night vision goggles, and he has this beam of light, which I think it comes from his belt, that's able to blind the enemies and allows him to beat them. Now, he does have a number of people that he works with. He has his sidekick, Kit, and he has his girlfriend, Terry West, and she works for the United Nations Press. He's also assisted in his crime fighting by Terry's father, who is a noted scientist. Now, this Catman was not limited to just Australia. He did have his base of operations in the mountains of Australia, but he was able to fight crime all over the world, which was useful with his girlfriend being part of the United Nations Press. Now, as I originally stated, the wartime rules on imports of things going to Australia kept American comic books from reaching Australia at the time, so they made their own version of Catman based on the original Catman, so they knew of him. But if any of the American comics had made it over there, there wasn't enough for them to publish them, so they just came up with their own superhero. Now, as with the Canadian comics, I'm trying to find as much information as I can with the Australian comics. Coming in next on this list is Power Man. His real name is unknown. The powers that he is... Well, first, he appeared in Challenge Comics #1 under Frank Johnson's publications in 1942. The information that I have been able to find is that he has the ability to become invisible, immune to bullets, and he may or may not have the ability to use and channel energy. After being exposed to an atomic bomb website, an unidentified individual became Power Man. Now, he wore a full-body costume and a visor across his face. Now, there was an emblem that he wore on his chest. I'm not sure how much of this was part of his powers. Now, I've seen a couple of different costumes. He's had a full-body red costume with a green tinted visor, and I've also seen a costume where he has a blue outfit with a black mask, but there was no visor and there's no gloves. Now, due to both of these pictures, it looks like the electricity may actually be part of his power set. Now we'll do one more hero that skirts the edge of the Silver Age. We're going to talk about Comet Man. Comet Man first appeared in Invisible Avenger comics. I suspect that would be #1, and this was put out by Jawhead Studios in 1951. His real name is unrevealed. What we do know is that he is super strong. He can pick up and throw heavy objects. I don't think he's thrown anything larger than a truck, but that gives you the idea of his power, how powerful he is. He can fly, and he does have invulnerability. How far the invulnerability stretches, I'm not entirely sure. But he is bulletproof, and he has been able to break off the blades of a moving helicopter. So, on the invulnerability scale, it's pretty strong. He has super breath. He's been able to blow out a large fire. And he has super speed, which he's quicker than lightning. So, a lot of these powers seems to be very commiserate to Superman himself. So I don't know if this was a copy, but being Comet Man, and I guess since it was Australian comics, there wasn't any need to pursue any legal action, since it looks like he's straight off of Superman. Okay. I'll take back what I said about him being in issue number 1. It doesn't appear that he was in the first issue, but he was in a number of issues that took place between 1951 and 1956. Comet Man is a world-famous superhero. He has no other identity. He is just Comet Man. He captures criminals and has no problem with killing criminals that were murderers themselves. So he seems to have scruples to a point. Well, that did it for another comic book video. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anybody you want to see more on, just leave me a comment in the comment section. I will be doing, after I cover all the countries that I'm doing, I'm going to be doing in-depth reviews of people who I've only briefly covered. I have a couple for Canada already. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.